All right, what is up, guys? I'm going to talk about the first year of my ASUS ROG phone so far. So basically, want to start off with the first phone I ever had, which was the Nokia Lumia 710, I believe. Yes, the 710, which is ancient technology, Windows 7. And then after that, I switched to Android, but I got a Google Nexus 5 and then the Nexus 6 directly after that. And great phones. I wanted a first party phone for Google Android, and those had stock Android. Those were like the Google phones to get back then. Originally LG, then Huawei. I think Motorola made a phone as well, but now they're Google Pixels, and I thought the logical choice would be to switch to Google Pixel after my Nexus, but then I saw that ASUS made the Republic of Gamers phone, and I love it. ASUS blew it out of the park with this one. The fast charging makes it so that I either charge the phone when I wake up or the night before, and it still holds a full charge, still at 40% by the end of the day, depending on what you're doing. Obviously, I'm not usually watching videos or playing games on my phone all day, so they usually last a while. I convinced a friend of mine to buy the ROG Phone 2, which houses a 6,000 milliamp battery, and he charges it once every 2 to 3 days, which is something ridiculous because phone batteries are getting bigger and bigger. But the phone itself is pretty big too. But so far the battery is still, I'm not noticing any faster drains yet, especially because I've been keeping up with the decent, keeping it between 40 to 85, 90%, not overcharging it. Sometimes I overcharge it, but not like extensively. Like maybe I'm like 30 minutes or an hour late and not realizing that it's fully charged, so then I unplug it and it still drains slowly, which is great. The specs still meet today's standards because usually the average phone nowadays is around 4,000 to 6,000 milliamps in battery life. I feel like it goes up 1,000 like every year now, which is really nice. I definitely wouldn't mind the ROG Phone 2, but since this was such an expensive phone, I'm going to skip at least maybe 2 generations before I'll get the 4 or 5 if that ever happens. It seems to be selling well. They keep making them, so that's cool. Now, one of the biggest flaws I've had is for some reason pulling this in and out of my pocket. If you look at this side, see how it's orange, and then there's a plastic strip here that's actually glued in. So the plastic strip peeled off, right? And then each layer of filament that was over the speaker just kept peeling off. And that was just from friction from just pulling it in and out of my pocket. So that was such a huge design flaw. I think they fixed that with the second phone, but it kind of sucks that it's just that they cheaped out on something like this. I stopped using the case after a few months. I didn't have the ROG case that they have. I bought like a cheap one off eBay for like a couple dollars. But then I just stopped using the case because you have to be. I've dropped the phone a few times, which sucks because they have an aluminum frame, so you'll see the silver start to show once you scratch it. But I've only dropped it maybe about 5 times total throughout the year, which isn't too bad. I've been a lot better about that. I'm trying to teach myself to not need cases. Even the screen guard I took off because it has a really nice Gorilla Glass that you'd have to drop this flat on the concrete or use a lot of force in order to scratch it. What was I gonna say? Oh yeah, so it still uses Android 8. They never, ever since I bought this phone, they haven't updated the operating system at all. They've had firmware updates and security updates and just improvements here and there, but they've never. It doesn't have 9. It doesn't have 10. It said they keep saying it's gonna eventually come out, and it hasn't. But the cool thing about it is that all the features that I wanted, which is essentially dark mode, so Google is in dark mode, even the Play Store is in dark mode without needing Android 10. I didn't have to swap. There's no dark mode option to swap to, but Instagram and Facebook Messenger and all of them automatically switch to dark mode on their own through updates rather than having to switch it to dark mode on the phone's settings. So that's kind of nice. So ASUS is all about, I guess, dark themes. So a lot of their content is already dark mode. It also has an AMOLED display, which, black is true black. Usually the pixels turn off when there's black on the screen. So that's kind of nice. I love it. I mean, I the fast charging is super nice. It has still, this phone actually has a headphone jack. It also has a USB port on the bottom and on the side for this side for gaming. I guess if you want the wire to like come down. It also comes with a fan, but I never use it. I'm definitely going to stick with ASUS when it comes to phones now, just because they're known for making quality PC products. So I figure their phones would be good quality, just for that one minor thing that they I believe they fixed in the second one. Because like I have a PG279Q monitor, I have an ASUS Claymore, I have the ASUS Spatha mouse, just ASUS ASUS motherboard, I guess. Eventually, it's just gonna be ROG everything. I mean, the TV maybe not. I don't know, because I like their 43-inch or 65-inch monitor. I can't afford either of those, but I mean, eventually, I would like to own all that good stuff by ASUS, because they usually make good stuff. It's just a little pricey. That's the thing. Like even this palm rest was like $20, and that's by ASUS for the Claymore. The Claymore is a cool keyboard. I'm not talking about the keyboard though. I'm talking about the phone. Yeah, it's super fast. So it's got a overclocked GPU, CPU, RAM. I mean, you can see all the usage and heat distribution on the phone itself in the settings through their X Mode gaming software. But like the thing is, I've never had. Usually on my like Nexus, they start slowing down after about a year or two because they keep updating. And that's the thing. Like since they're taking their time to update the software, the phone hasn't slowed down at all. And I'm in content with Android 8. I'm not like that. I was that kind of person that's like, I want something new every time. Like I want quick updates. I want to see new stuff. I want to see new features. But like the fact of the matter is that the phone is still working at optimal speeds. I'm okay with Android 8. There's because even if it's on Android 8, it still gets all the new apps and new games and new content that drops on the Play Store. So it doesn't really matter if it's on 9 or 10, because 8's still functioning perfectly fine. Eventually 9 is going to come out, or 10. Maybe I'll just skip 9. I don't know. But the fact that the company is taking their time for the update rather than just rushing them out and killing your phone in the process, and the fact that the battery is still amazing is great. I mean, it's only been 1 year. After the second year is when I'm always expected to like see changes in the quality of the phone because of aging and wear and tear. So I'm hoping this phone at least lasts me 3 to 4 years. Unless I magically win $1 million, then I'll probably buy a new one every year. But right now, it's like I bought this phone. I spent a lot of money on it. I'm stuck with it for a while now. When I saw the ROG 2, I was blown away by its specs compared to mine. Mainly the battery life, like 6,000 milliamps is great. I'm always like when I go to conventions and stuff, usually the battery seems to drain faster, and I don't know why. Maybe that's all in my head, but. Or I'm on it all the time, usually when you're like waiting online or trying to contact people, the battery does drain a lot quicker. So I do want that 6,000 milliamps eventually, or maybe by the time they release 3 or 4, or if they perfect battery life even further, which they will, we'll have much bigger batteries for phones in a more compact sense later down the line. So since the new one's 6,000 milliamps, I mean, I'd be surprised if they make another phone that's bigger. I think 8,000 is a good stopping point when it comes to battery power on a smartphone. You don't need anything bigger. Energizer has this really thick phone that's about 16,000 milliamps, and it lasts about a month. But like it's thick, like it's a big phone. It would barely fit in your pocket if you have big enough pockets even. So yeah, that's my take on the ASUS ROG phone after 1 year. I'm completely satisfied with it. It like I said, it's not like doesn't have the best camera. It has front-facing speakers, which is nice. The ROG Phone 2 has better speakers. Like if you were to buy between the ASUS ROG 1 and the ROG 2, they still sell both. There's for some reason the one on their website is still $900 brand new, which is it's still worth the price kind of, but the 2 is better because the 2 still has that option where it's 1 terabyte, 12 gigs of RAM. And it's but that one's like $900. You do have a cheaper option that's like no warranty. They also have another cheaper option that has a 128 gig hard drive and a 500 gig hard drive with 8 gigs of RAM. And honestly, you don't need a terabyte. The 128 gig is good enough, and 8 gigs of RAM is more than enough for gaming. If you do game, I just got it because it looked cool, and I do game a little bit, but I don't like mobile games that much. But if you were to choose between the 1 and the 2 at this point, if you don't own the 1, get the 2. or just wait for the 3 next year if your phone's still working. To be honest, they'll probably make the battery life even bigger. I'm all about bigger battery lives. The camera quality, as long as it does the job and it's a clear image, I'm good. I don't really need like iPhone Pro status cameras. If I was gonna go that route with a high-end camera, I'll just buy a DSLR. But that's just how I am. People want. I don't know why they obsessed with the camera, but it's cool. I'm actually. I just actually thought about this. Like, compact cameras in phones have amazing qualities, yet for some reason, the best. The webcam that's considered the best is Logitech, yet I'm seeing a lot of grain even though I have a lot of light in my room. And even the Brio does this. I see that, like, why don't they have higher bit rates and better ISOs is beyond me, or better sensors, because people usually use DSLRs when it comes to streaming, but I'd rather have a high quality webcam that does everything for me. But yeah, no, that's my take on the ROG phone. I know I strayed away from it a little bit. If you guys liked what I had to say, please hit that like and subscribe button. If you don't,